What's going on? Y'all know what time it is. Time to make some gains. Gains o'clock. So, talk about the elephant in the room. You know, a lot of people asking me. I've never said this to anyone. I don't think I've made a video on this, but a lot of people have been asking me, what happened? You posted like 10 years ago. Now you're back. So what happened? So I'm going to tell you a story about someone that's very dear and close to my heart. That's my father. And, he was a guy that was full of life. Was a guy that was what my shirt says right here. It's a guy that's unbreakable. Mentally. He was the guy that knew how to make people laugh. He'd bring the best out of everybody. Instantly, you'd be friends with him. He'd get you a cup of tea, and you guys would hit it off. That's how he did it. He gave you some biscuits, South Asian style. He gave you some biscuits, and you guys would hit it off because he's a jokester. He's a 5'5" short king. Got that Tom Selleck mustache. Was a stud. And yeah, man, he was magnetic. He just had this aura. He had aura. He had the riz that you kids be talking about, right? And he's been through something. So there's a story about the night where I usually say, he saved my life. He saved me and my brother's lives because he took us out of Bangladesh. I'm from third world country, Bangladesh, right? Poverty-stricken, corrupt system. Getting a little better, hopefully, now with new leadership. But, yeah, man, third world country, where I'm from, where I was born. Came here when I was like about 2 years old. Took us out of that. And this is a story about the night me and my brother saved his life, because it was a night where there's been a lot of issues going on at home through those past few years. Between those years, a lot of mental health stress, and the troubles of trying to provide for people back home, and losing people and things like that hang on to him. But this is the night where one of the scariest nights of my life, where he was on his stomach. He was rambling things. His stomach feels like he was in pain. He told us everything was all right. And all of a sudden, he was just saying things, rambling things. And then he was moving his hand in a circular direction. Seemed involuntary, like he couldn't stop. And then, at the time, I didn't realize it, but what had happened was I didn't recognize that he was having a stroke at the moment. And so, I called 911 right away. Mom, South Asian mom, bugging out, thinking of the worst. Super scared. I'm scared. I didn't want to bug my brother. My older brother was sleeping. Middle brother and me are worried. So I said, fuck it, call 911. And this was during the height of the pandemic. So one of the worst times to go to the hospital. And good thing I did call in time, because they said if it was a little bit more, could have really done damage to the brain. But all in all, we didn't get to visit that day because of what was going on at that time, but we did get a call, and they said they were able to stabilize him. All through that time, I was like, nah, man, he's gonna pull through. That was my mindset. Why, yeah, of course I was worried, but my mindset was he's gonna pull through. Not my guy. He got this. And so he did. Although, during that time, I feel like he didn't get the proper treatment. That's another story for another time. But yeah, they put him on some meds. And over time, he wasn't the same. Obviously, his body kind of, he's not the same as before, and that'll, like, he used to be full of life. The contrast is like now, you gotta initiate the convo, right? You gotta get those little spurts out of him. And that's what I try to do, is try to just get those things out of him. And it makes sense, like, why my father, like he had depression and all these things. He was diagnosed with those things. He lost a lot of family back home. He had this expectation that, he was going to save them, or he felt responsible for their well-being and things like that. And the roles have reversed. He grew older, and me and my brothers were the breadwinners, and we kind of provided, which is as a man, I understand it feels like, when you're not earning and things like that, it feels kind of like you take, you lost some sort of power, but in yourself. But that's not the case. I think that was in his head. Like I say all this to say that, like, we're proud of him, right? Like, we're grateful. But going back to what I was saying was that, it makes sense why he's like that. He's been through a lot of traumatic events. Not only the pressures of that, like, imagine coming here, 3 kids at the age of what was it, 35, married already, 3 kids, wife, foreign country, not knowing the language, not knowing how things work, with only about $100 in his pocket, right? Got to find a place to stay, no help at all, just surviving, making sure we get the education we need, the opportunities we have. And so he also was a prisoner of war. That's a story he told me, and he actually survived that. So you can only imagine, like, the shit that he's been through. So when I say, I'll tell you that story. So he survived that. This was in Bangladesh. I'd say 1950s, 60s, like during the war, and he was caught by Pakistani army. Pakistan and Bangladesh were beefing, right? That's where I'm from. I'm from Bangladesh. And he got captured by the army. And the way he survived was the soldier that was taking care of him said, "Hey, you have the same name as my brother, so that makes you my brother. You're just like my brother." War is ugly, but there are obviously always, there's good people. The people are good. It's war that's ugly, right? It's politics. I digress. But he said, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put you on the firing range. We're gonna put you out in the field. You're gonna go walk off there. I'm gonna aim at you, but I'm gonna veer off to the left a little bit. I'm gonna aim off, and when you hear bang, you're gonna fall to the floor, right? So we're gonna fake your death. Just lay there for a little bit till it clears out. So that's exactly what my father did, and then he was crawling through the trenches until he got to a road, and then he found some people that helped him out. And obviously he was paranoid after a few weeks of like, he didn't want to come out of the house and things like that, but he did get to safety. So just think about that, just things like that. He's a prisoner of war. I'm pretty sure they also hit him in the head with gun butted him when he first met him, knocked him out. He still has that little lump on his head, by the way, as proof that he lived this shit. And he just, he was always on the he was one of the brothers that, like, always was, like, thinking of more, doing more. And that's the way, he was a dreamer. He wanted his own business. He was always hustling. He was a hustler, and he would always think positive. And so, like, that's why he came here. Like, he applied, He got the lottery win. And then he got visa here, right? And he came here, bought his family. He didn't listen to anyone. He said, "Fuck it, I'm doing me. I trust myself." And I say all that to say, like, what's the moral here? The moral here is life is pain, life is suffering, right? But circumstances don't matter, right? Like, that's why I'm back. Like, I said, screw it, none of this shit matters. I'm gonna do what I want to do anyway, right? I had to get right mentally, and now I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm just doing what I'm in my true place. I'm doing what I love to do, right? Hoping that this helps people. Cause like that's another thing, right? We're scared to be seen, right? We're scared to be seen as human beings. We're scared to be seen. We think that, you know, people, like how many people can probably relate to this? Probably a ton. Like, you know, we probably think that no one would think this, or maybe nobody experienced something like this. I'm sure tons of people have. I'm sure tons of people would love to hear it, right? But I say all that to say, and I know I keep saying that. The shit Ovik says. I say all that to say. No, but like I say all this to say that become unbreakable, man. Become unbreakable, unshakable, unfuckable with, right? And that's like, my dad might not feel like a success, but I feel like he's a success because, I mean, the proof is standing right in front of you, right? That's his trophy. And so that's why I'm going hard every single day. You know, that's why I do what I do, right? Like, he's a success. In his eyes, he might not be. So it's all perspective, right? Like, you think you have it bad, but then you find out like what your parents had gone through. It's like, damn, they fucking had it worse, right? Some kid in Iraq has it even worse than me, right? It's what you compare it to. It's like, what's your perspective, right? Like, freaking kids in, you know, Syria, Libya, you know, like the lifestyle there. So, like, count your blessings. That doesn't mean you stay complacent, but you always strive for better, or for the best, you know, compared to what your standards are, right? You always try to be better, but, you know, you also got to be grateful. Don't forget to, like, you know, be grateful for what you have, because that could be taken away too, right? So, yeah, man. When it comes to shit like the gym and achieving the body that you want, that's minuscule, man. That's easy money. It's nothing. Become unbreakable. Become unshakable. Become unfuckable with. Nothing can move me. Nothing can fucking stop me, right? That's how you gotta be. And so that's the story. That's why, you know, that's why I took a little break, and that's why I'm back. So remember, guys, live by design, not by default. Perform, lead out.